Got another dope interview. I'm bringing out the vault today. What up, y'all? It's your man Sam Ant here at Viral Hip Hop News. We're going to get into it. Before we do, let's get a quick word from our sponsor. Want a live interview with Viral Hip Hop News? Email me, Sam Ant, at dlsmediainc1@gmail.com. Let's go. dlsmediainc1@gmail.com. If you're an artist, entrepreneur, if you want to promote your music or your brand here on Viral Hip Hop News, you want to interview with me, email me. Again, dlsmediainc1@gmail.com. All right, so going through the Rolodex for those of you who have been watching, appreciate y'all. For those of you who are new, I decided to do like a throwback May series where I bring back some of our best interviews from times past, interviews that may not have been brought out in their entireties throughout the years. I'm like, all right, let me dust off some of these classic records and give them to the people, especially in a day and age where content is getting watered down worse than ever. And the day and age of a great interview are just few and far in between and seemingly a thing of the past. And I miss it, to be honest with you. I miss engaging conversations. I miss conversations where there wasn't a dollar amount involved or an agenda attached to it, and we could just have real conversations, and it doesn't feel like it's a chess match between somebody trying to catch something, somebody saying something, and somebody trying to maximize on a dollar amount. Just miss good interviews, good people doing their thing, man. So I decided during the month of May, we're going to go ahead and drop some interviews. Today, we're dropping it with Bone Thugs and Harmony legend Layzie Bone. Did it in about 2022. Enjoy the interview. Like, share, comment on the interview. Subscribe to Viral Hip Hop News. Let's get this page back great again. Appreciate each and every one of y'all. Without further ado, Hip Hop Uncensored Podcast 2022 with our interview with Layzie Bone. Let's go.
Welcome to another episode of the Hip Hop Uncensored Podcast. I'm your brother, old guy from Hip Hop News Uncensored, and sitting across from me is my co-host.
What up, y'all? It's your man Sam Ant, CEO of Viral Hip Hop News, and you're in the building for a very special edition of the Hip Hop Uncensored Podcast. We got a special guest in the building. We got Hip Hop Royalty on the podcast. We always have a pleasure in our hearts to have Royalty on, and we got the OG Layzie Bone on the podcast. What's good with you, OG?
Oh man, I'm blessed by the best, man. How y'all feeling?
Blessed as well, man. How can we not, man, having another OG on the podcast this afternoon? You are the third member of the legendary Bone Thugs in Harmony to grace us with your presence, man, and we're definitely honored to have you on. So let's just start, man. Let's get right to it. How you feeling out here, man? 2021 is halfway gone. It's a lot going on. It's a lot to unravel. We opening back up. Now we might close the fuck back up. It's a lot going on in the world, man. How you feeling, brother?
Man, I'm feeling, man. I'm conflicted, man. I'm like, am I going this weekend? Are we shutting down this weekend? Is the tour going on, man? It's just, it's a lot of uncertainty, man. But, I feel good all in all. You know what I mean? My family blessed, Bone Thugs in Harmony. We striving. I really can't complain, man. I just can't wait till the world get back on an even keel, man.
Yeah.
No doubt. We definitely feel you on that one. So how's the music coming along right now? Anything new that we can tell the people about for our audience, man?
Man, I got a new record right now coming out. But my Harmony House Entertainment, I got quite a few things going on. I got a duet album with one of my favorite artists that I work with and producers, AC the Chemist. You know what I mean? So we got an album coming out called Eyes on the Prize. My son is releasing music now, Stephen House. You know what I mean? It's available wherever digital music is available. He got 2 new songs. One called Severed Connections, and the other one is Dark Trails. Doing pretty good on the internet. Man, I got Havoc, got some music out. Rocky Rock coming, Sloan Bone coming. Man, I got a bunch of music coming out right now. Vice versa, the Twins. So as a company, we banging, man. We used our time well for the pandemic. You know what I mean? So we sitting on a ton of new music. Also, I got about 3 or 4, 5 new songs of Bone Thugs in Harmony. I think we're gonna release as singles. We started to work as an album, but I mean, at this point, it don't make no sense to release an album right now. We got some songs, some strong songs we finna put out here in the world too. So, music wise, we kicking ass.
Yeah, I want to ask you, bro. You've been in the game. Y'all been in the game since '93. I was 10 years old. Now I'm sitting here as damn near 40, a nice, ripe, grown ass man, and y'all still doing your thing, kicking and motivated to still do this thing.
Yeah.
And I don't even want to call it a young man's game or a young man's world, because we see so much of our greats still doing the thing at such a high level. What gets you motivated, keeps you motivated to still do it at a high level? Your son in the game right now. So what keeps you motivated to do it at the level you're doing it on, brother?
Hey, you just said it right there, man. My son in the game. You know, I've been surrounded by talent, man, since I assembled Bone Thugs and Harmony back when I was 12 years old. So if you kicking 40, then that means I'm kicking 50. You know what I'm saying? So, man, and then, you know, like, music always been a release for me. So, like, it's kind of my therapy to talk about what's going on in this world, man. You know, just to talk about my relationships, you know, things that I see in the world, that it keep me motivated. And I never understand why they call it a young man's game anyway, when our brain is getting smarter. It ain't like we playing football or basketball where our muscles getting deteriorating and all that type of shit, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like I get better. We keep getting better with time, man. So just to know that I'm putting a better combination of words together now, way better now than I did when I was 16 or 20 or 25 or 30 and so on and so forth. Like, man, that keep me motivated. Like, to hear when you hear something dope you did, to be intrigued by yourself sometimes. That's a motivation within itself, man. So I'm motivated by music, period.
Word.
We always like to go back, man, especially with somebody like you. It's so much to cover with your history, man. Let's go back all the way to the formation. Like you said, you put Bone Thugs and Harmony. But before you guys even came up with the name, before Eazy-E gave you guys the name, talk about the formation of your group and when you guys were called the BandAid Boys. Go back to that for us, man.
Okay, so you want to go back to the
yeah.
early 80s. Okay, well, I mean, you know, Flesh and Bone is my oldest brother. That's my mother's oldest child. Wishbone is my cousin. I met Crazy Bone in the 7th grade in home economics, you know what I mean? And I was beatboxing and he was rapping. And we met back then, and you know what I mean? So we came together as a 4-man crew with the homie K Chill, my brother, Flesh and Bone, Crazy Bone, and myself, and we was the BandAid Boys. So all through junior high, we was BandAid Boys. We wore Band-Aids up under our eyes, you know what I'm saying, and just trying to look rough and tough back then, you know. And so we went from BandAid Boys in junior high, and then at that point, our group had split up because we went to different schools going to high school. So me and Crazy stuck together. My Flesh and Bone was playing basketball in high school. He was a star, and he was a star on the basketball court. So me and Crazy kept it going, man. And Bone came in after I was after my first year of 9th grade. You know what I mean? I had got in some trouble, and I went to Texas, and life took me on my first tour. Back in hindsight, you know, and that's where the Bone thing came from. So me and Crazy came up with Bone Enterprise.
Mm-hmm.
So we was Bone Enterprise, and Bone came about Bone was like our last name. You know, our last name was Bone. So we did that for about a year, maybe year and a half, 2 years, and then Busy came along as the youngest member of the group. And that's when we was really doing talent shows in Cleveland. We put out a record called Faces of Death. I was in the 11th grade when we recorded that. And we did that for a few years, Bone Enterprise. We had some success in Cleveland. So we decided, you know, my brother Flesh went to California playing ball, and he ended up rapping against some guys. One of the guys that played in Menace to Society, the movie, and from the legend goes, he tore their ass up. And then after that, you know, my brother was like, he suggests we go out to California. We went to California, long story short, one-way bus tickets, man. We was out there like homeless and moving around, staying with different friends and things like that, and looking for a deal, you know, and we finally, long story short, we met with Eazy-E. And then when we met with Eazy-E, we became Bone Thugs and Harmony because we had a song called Gangsta Harmony that turned into Thugs and Harmony. And Eazy-E felt like, he was like, man, y'all name should be Thugs and Harmony. So we had a long debate. Like, no, we can't drop the Bone because Bone is our surname. You know, it became Bone Thugs and Harmony. And then 1994, we dropped Thuggish Ruggish Bone and
Yeah.
Hello World.
Now, real quick, the story of Eazy-E. Talk about, you know, when you guys move over there to Cali, and then you trying to get with Eazy-E, so you call him up a few times, right? And then you have to rap for him as well. Can you take us back to that real quick, please?
Okay, so what happened was, so when we was living in California on a homeless tip, we had a homeboy named Don and Dina that we stayed with that allowed us to be in their shack. So we used to write songs in the shack, and every day we would call Eazy-E's office and talk to a lady by the name of Keisha, which was his secretary or receptionist, whatever role she played at the company at that time. And we rapped to her, and she was impressed by us. So we would do that every day, and she promised us that Eazy-E, she would get Easy on the phone for us to hear us rap. And one day, shit, he called. You know what I mean? He called Dina's house, and you know, I wasn't there at that time. I was actually going to the store. Me and one of the other Bones, I believe Crazy and Busy was the ones who took the call and rapped over the phone. So when they rapped for Eazy-E over the phone, we thought we was on right there. Eazy-E was like, I'm gonna get back with y'all, but he never did. And then we found out Eazy-E was doing the show in Cleveland. Everybody was talking about it. Like, man, y'all out there trying to get with Eazy-E. He got a show in Cleveland. So we got back to Cleveland, had some clout, got on the show. He didn't see us perform. And me and Busy ended up bum rushing backstage. Yellow, we saw Yellow Boy in the hallway. And I just started rapping in the hallway, and Eazy-E poked his head out. I was like, man, y'all them niggas that was on the phone. And Blase Skippy. And from there, we went to the hotel room with him that night. And after that, we had another like 2-week wait. He was like, I'm on tour right now. I'm going to get with y'all when I get off tour. So we waited by the phone another 2 weeks, man. And he called us back. And next thing you know, we was back on a Greyhound going back to California, but this time we was going Eazy-E, man. And that was a hell of a journey. You know, that 3-day journey going down there, man, with nothing the first time. You know, it was crazy. It was crazy. Like now you could push a button and you could send your music all over the world.
Crazy, yeah.
Right now, back then we had to actually take that trip. So that was late 1993. We left November 23rd, 1993. By June 1994, Thuggish Ruggish Bone was out.
Talk about your sound. Y'all had one of the most influential sounds of all time, and who knew back then it would be as influential as it is now. But how were you guys perceived, not only in Cleveland, but even outside of Cleveland when Eazy-E initially heard you guys and brought you guys in? What did he talk about with your sound?
I mean, people had always told us that we was different. Can you close that door for me, please? Sorry about that.
You good, brother?
Yeah, people had always told us that we was different. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember we did a talent show one time, and it was actually a gong show. and that was in Cleveland. This was like in the early days, and we got gone. They was like, "Get y'all ass out of here with that Orient sounding ass rap." You know what I'm saying? They didn't understand us, but a lot of people just said we was different. But Easy E knew off the rip that we had something different. We never really knew. We just knew, you know, we challenged each other about who could put the most words in a bar. You know what I mean? How many words can you put in the bar? And we grew up on with, you know, our parents' music, which was, you know, the Temptations, all the Motown music. We tried to be New Edition. We tried to be Run DMC. You know what I mean? So we transitioned from childhood singing into like by 9 or 10, we was all rappers. You know what I'm saying? So our sound developed over years, and that was just us pushing each other to see who could put the most words in the rap. You know what I mean? So at first we didn't know. We didn't know, but Easy E knew. In the end, he was like, "Man, y'all got something different," because we really thought singing was soft. You know what I mean? Like back then, if you was singing and you was in the streets in the hood selling, doing whatever you was doing on the streets, you know what I mean? From our angle, we was like, nah, we rather rap because we hard. You know, NWA was out, we mimicked them and all that type of shit. So our transition from singing to rapping all came together and combined from junior high until we was like 10th, 11th grade. Because by the time I was 18, I was famous. So it was an accumulation of time from the oldies to mixing, blending hip hop, singing, and rapping over the Migos and learning each other's raps and knowing how to ad lib our shit right. So that's how our style came about, man. It took time. People thought it was like we just came up with a style, but that was over like a 10-year period.
Damn.
Right. Now, you said in one video I was watching, you said like your guys' emergence in Cleveland was equivalent to LeBron James, you know what I mean, going to the Cavaliers. But I want to ask you, like, you guys are going, you're hot all over the world, you're signing Easy E, then he passes away. Take us back to that and how that kind of affected you guys, you know, when he passed away. What was your mindset at that time?
Yeah, man, it's crazy. Very ironically that album that we did in Cleveland was called Faces of Death.
Mm.
That's very ironic. That's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, shit, we was lost, man. I thought it was over with. You know what I mean? Me personally, I went back to Cleveland and I went back to the streets. I took my money and went back to the streets and because I was refusing to go back because I didn't understand that we had a career of our own. It was like we made it because Easy E believed in us. So we only knew Easy E in person for not even 18 months, man. We didn't even get to spend like 18 months with Easy E because by the time we recorded Eternal, E passed. He never even got to hear the finished product of East 1999 Eternal.
Right.
I mean, so we was lost, man. It was like attorneys and, you know, we went from Easy E giving us full reign to make our music however we wanted to, just go in the studio, bang out, no rules, do whatever we wanted to do to okay, now it's this attorney is being brought in to run the company and maybe it might be Easy E's wife, and then they had to fight for the company. Is Jerry Heller gonna get it? So that shit was so confusing, man. It was like for a minute I gave up. Like I thought it was over. Like the world, like how could this happen? But eventually they got it back on track and they got us back out to California. And we started on East 1999, and y'all know what we came with, because the first Crossroads, was dedicated to our friend Wally,
Okay.
Boo,
Yeah.
people that we lost from the hood, you know. And then when Easy E passed, we had to do the remix. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, that was some trying times, but to add to Bone Thugs and Harmony, we took the hardest road that any I believe any MC could have took, far as like having to overcome differences.
No doubt, definitely. Now you made a statement also. You said that, I don't know if it was this time, but you were saying that you guys were more famous than you had money. Was that the case at this time?
That's been the case our whole career. Really, we had to fight for our money the whole time. You know what I mean? Like when Thuggish Ruggish Bone came out, we was still riding the bus in Cleveland. Like I remember the first time I heard a car go past playing our music, a fly ass Cutlass go past playing our music. We hyped on the bus. Like, nigga, that's our shit. The people on the bus like that ain't y'all music. So we had already been famous. Like on the box, we was on the box every day. Like we ran the box. Remember the box where you had 900 something pick your video? Yeah, so we was way more famous than we had money. And to this day, I believe we are, because shit, we done generated over $1 billion for certain companies, you know what I mean? But we ain't get a chance to see it like that, but it's coming.
It's funny you say that. I want to talk about that now in the music industry as a whole, because when you say the box, it makes me laugh. It makes me and my cuz laugh, because we remember the two songs that we used to fucking go in on the box was Triumph by Wu-Tang and Crossroads by Bone Thugs. Mm-hmm. No doubt about it, absolutely. And so influential in our lives, man. And you would think, perception will say, oh, these brothers on the top of the world, they got everything. But we all know as we grow older and get wise in the music game, in the music industry, that's not so much the case with our OGs in the game. So talk about the negative side of music, and that's the industry, and how you just that whole ordeal went down.
I mean, well, the negative side of the industry was basically like, you know, that it was really the record industry, which it's not the record industry no more. It ain't no records to sell no more.
Right.
It's like, you know how they did artists, man. They when our first deal we signed was 12 points. 12 points is equivalent to 12% out of 100. Split that 5 ways, and you know, they give you big ass advances. Oh, I'm gonna give you $1 million advance, and you know, I'm gonna shoot you a video. I'm gonna do this to put you in debt all that money. You know what I'm saying? So it was designed to keep the record industry was designed to keep control over the artists. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it was. Like now it's a lot different. Like I believe the new generation got it a lot better, because you don't need a record company. You don't need a label per se no more if you know how to market and promote. If you take your time to learn the strategies of this new music game, you know, it's a lot better. You know what I mean? Like you can own 100% of your music. You can get a better distribution deal than you could without having to prove yourself so much. It took us 50 million records to sell, even to get back to 50% ownership in our music. Wow. You know what I mean? So now I'm totally independent, where I can go through a TuneCore, a DistroKid, or I can get a deal anywhere. The thing about it being so negative back then, they spent the money to help us build this millions and millions and millions of a fan base. Now we can get back. So if you can build you a fan base with the internet and how we do interviews, what we doing right now, it's the kids got it a lot better these days. But you know, black artists, man, they raped us back in the days. You know, that's how they controlled us. You know, they gave you things and didn't tell you they didn't teach you the game. They just, you know, dangled that carrot in front of your head. But I was always a little smarter than that though, because I had Mo Thug Records and I was learning early. Mm-hmm. You know, so it is some pros and cons, man. But you just gotta study just gotta know what you know. You gotta know that it's show and it's business. If you can separate the two, you damn sure can be successful in this game.
No doubt, no doubt. So let's go back to the career. Let's go back to Crossroads. So you guys do that at the time. You guys say a lot of people in your life was passing away. Everybody, from your side, your brothers, and everything. You do that. Eazy-E, his obviously not in the song, but his shadows in the song or whatever. Then we move forward, and you guys move, and Crossroad comes out, and it's the biggest thing out. Take us back to that. And does the fortune kind of change when Crossroad comes out in the industry?
I mean, well, it was changing before that.
Okay.
We was already going through the thing with who was gonna own Ruthless and all that. So it was getting better. It always got better because we never stopped fighting. But yeah, by the time Crossroads came out, it was like we went from being known to, after we tied the Beatles record and then won a Grammy, it was like that opened up a door to where, everything damn near free when you famous like that. You feel me? Like people give you shit. So it really wasn't about the money all the time. It was like it was different perks and things that came along with the fame. But yeah, our fortune was changing, man. We put out Crossroads. We went from 3 million records to 10 million overnight. You feel me? So we definitely was seeing a lot more progress, seeing a lot more of our hard work was paying off. So things was changing by the time Crossroads. That Grammy opened up a different door.
Absolutely. Now, you guys also had the height of your run during a real crazy time in hip hop with the East Coast, West Coast beef. Now, you guys from Cleveland, not being from either coast, but kind of sitting neutral because you had allies both in the West Coast and the East Coast, did records with both West Coast and East Coast rappers. How did y'all feel during that whole situation? And how did y'all feel when everything played out the way it did?
I mean, man, it was crazy from the rip, because when we first got with Layzie, he was going at it with the Dog Pound and Snoop and Dr. Dre and all that, and we was ready to ride for Heat. You know what I mean? But BG Knockout and Drayster and all them, he had his West Coast team that was handling. His advice to us was out of it. You know what I mean? Like, don't get in that beef. He saw something different. And us from the Midwest, we had East Coast ties. We grew up to East Coast music and West Coast music.
Mm-hmm.
We basically, for the most part, we stayed out East Coast, West Coast beef. You know what I mean? But I mean, we never would have thought it would have ended in death. Like, you know what I mean? It was crazy. Even going to award shows, you know what I mean? We had brass knuckles and pistols in our pocket.
Man.
Like the first Source Awards was like the craziest thing to go to, man. Like it was like, man, do we really want to go to the awards? But you got to go represent your brand, represent what we claim. So at that time, man, that's so crazy. Hip hop was on some real serious. It was a serious vibe. Like now I see people could beef and then it really ain't too much. But back then it was like niggas will blow your head off for real. It was crazy.
Right. Now you did Thug Love and you did Notorious Thug with Biggie. Did you get any backlash from doing those songs with both of those artists at the time they were beefing?
Not at all, man.
Okay.
When we did Pop, when we did the song with Pop, that one came out first. It was all love. You know what I'm saying? And then we had already had a relationship with Biggie and Puffy and them already. You know what I'm saying? So Puffy called us and asked us to get on the song with I guess or I guess must have requested it, but not. And yeah, we didn't have a backlash, man. It was like if we got love, we got even more love from the East Coast because Biggie Smalls he flipped the flow.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like nobody over there wasn't doing that like that, you know, like on the real big scale. So when we did the song with Biggie, we hadn't heard what he was gonna do. We all was in the studio together recording, but Biggie took his home. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't even get to hear his part until after he was gone, man. He was dead before. I mean, he had passed away before we got a chance to hear the song. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, if anything, we was part of bridging the gap.
No doubt.
Indeed. Now, I want to ask you, kind of fast forward a little bit to today's hip hop while we're on this conversation. And as an OG in the game and seeing what we seen back then with the East Coast, West Coast beef and kind of compare it to what we see now with the youth in hip hop and people. We just had a young 21-year-old in here and we asked him the dangers in hip hop nowadays and how his parents feel about him in the hip hop, because see a lot of these young rappers out here involved in violence and they dropping like flies. And unfortunately now we can see it in the palm of our hand on Instagram and the world can see it. So as an OG in the game, talk about hip hop now and how it's evolved. Is this something that's a little more dangerous? Has this always been in the game of hip hop? And how can we do something? And I know it may sound cliche, but how can we do something to change that?
I mean, unfortunately, man, I can't really do to change that because the issues that hip hop addresses street issues. You know what I'm saying? So you got to think back to, well, a lot of young cats don't know, but DJ Skylar Rock was murdered. That's KRS-One brother. You know what I mean? Slick Rick went to jail for a long time for having to protect somebody trying to protect him. It's just been a part of the culture, man. And it's I think the only difference now is, to me, it seemed like when we was coming up, we was rapping trying to get out the hood. You know what I mean? So that we didn't have to deal with the bang bang, shoot 'em up all day, every day in the hood and all that. Now it seems like niggas get famous and then claim a gang.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's like to me it's backwards than what we was doing, like trying to get out the game. Now it's like you cooler if you in the gang, or not even the gang, or just doing crazy shit or whatever. But I think that's just part of hip hop culture. But that's everyday life, though. Hip hop culture ain't no part. It's no difference than the street. You got to know how to maneuver. You got to know how to affiliate yourself with different things. And karma is a motherfucker. I believe you got to know how to navigate through this thing, man, and want better for yourself, as opposed to putting yourself in the line of fire. So I can't really judge nobody, man. I didn't get it till I was in my 30s.
Word, man. I feel you on that shit.
I was representing the Bullets. My brother went to 10. You know what I mean? With photography and all that. We was protecting our, and when you're young, you just don't know. I think the difference is now that us being OGs, we more vocal about the do's and don'ts than our OGs was. It's like this shit didn't come with no manuscript, man.
Definitely real talk. Let's talk about the Art of War. You guys put that out, and on that thing, you start coming at rappers, because at this point, people starting to bite your style, copy, emulate you guys too much. Who are you guys talking about in particular? If you care to put any names out, people that were biting your style back then.
I mean, it was well, first of all, let me say that most of all that shit was industry driven.
Okay.
And like the industry, even to this day, the industry, if somebody come out with a sound that's hot and is working, all they want to do is go sound people that try to sound like what's hot.
Yep.
That's what the industry do. And then they try to pit niggas against each other. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of worked. You know, we went at it with Do or Die. We went at it with 3 6 Mafia, which we all homies now. You know what I'm saying? But at that time, when you got magazines fueling the fire, you got executives that's not trying to be A&Rs, not trying to be original. You know what I'm saying? They all they did was carbon copy. So in the beginning, it was like, okay, we come from an era where beat biters, like, don't say my lines, nigga, don't do my flow.
Mhm.
Because, you know, originality was the main thing in hip hop. You know, don't be a beat biter, don't bite my flow. You know what I mean? So in the beginning, it was like, all right, these niggas coming at us, and then you got fans, and you got all these people feeding you negative energy. So we went at it. We went back and forth with niggas in the real way. Come Art of War, you know what I mean? Come to find out, to me, them niggas didn't even sound like us. They was just trying to rap fast, but they don't sound like Bone. You know what I mean? But I never even heard they music before I start retaliating. Things like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just after a while it became, okay, we did something. We made a contribution to the game so deep and so profound that, okay, maybe we should just take this as we should be it was it was okay, it's a compliment. And that beat biting and all that faded away as we became older and things like that. But in the beginning, we was gung ho with everything. When you young and you ain't got no guidance, that's what happened, man. We was going at each other's heads, and it got real. Believe that. Them niggas wasn't no hoes, and we wasn't no hoes. So it got real a few times.
I want to take this on a deeper level because you said it was more industry driven, and they like to create a sound and mimic a sound, and then pit people against one another. And we see how much and how great beef sells. It is better, especially in particular in hip hop. They don't do it in country or pop or shit like that, but in hip hop in particular, they market and make so much money off of the beef and the diversity. Talk about that on the deeper level. Do you think that that was a plan within music? Because we know who runs the higher up in music, to do that to the Black community and do that within hip hop, a culture that they know will be so influential to the world.
Absolutely, man. Well, you know, they've been trying to destroy Black folks since before we were born.
Mhm.
We done had a bad rap. They still won't even. They still some folks still won't even recognize how they broke up the family structure of the Black family.
Okay.
You know, from slavery on to the new slavery, from breaking our families up, from sending our uncles and fathers to jail and to military, and leaving these kids home with just the mama to raise them and things like that. So we've been under attack as a people, period. You know what I mean? So of course they came, you know, I'm like, okay, they talking about drugs, so let's promote that. Cause you had all kind of rap. You had conscious raps, you had rap about, you know, conscious rap, street rap, dance rap,
Mhm.
bubblegum. You had it all from the beginning. But for some reason, while as we was coming into the game, the agenda to me was to push, and we fell right into the trap because we was talking about what we was street reporting what was happening in the hood. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, yeah, the agenda was to keep these niggas down, keep these niggas ignorant. You know what I mean? And that was the agenda, which backfired because you had the Master P's and you had the J Princes and the Easy E's and the Russell Simmons, and you know what I'm saying, that was willing to educate and show us how to be entrepreneurs and own our companies. So we eventually figured it out, but their agenda, of course, like the sipping lean, the, you know, get drunk, the shoot, the all that. Like, of course, that's why you could put out. I could make a negative statement on the internet right now. We so conditioned. I could
Mhm.
say something negative, and it'll blow up viral. But I could put a quote up. I could put a quote up, or I could put a quote up from the Bible that'll give somebody strength on the inside, and it won't move numbers at all. You know what I mean? So of course I think they had an agenda against us to keep niggas ignorant and all that. Like the industry never played fair. They never wanted to give us our money. We fighting over our masters right now, over 25 years later. They wanted to control and own a man and his creation. So yeah, the industry, I always felt like I was against the industry anyway. It's bone against the machine. That's why we ain't signed to no major. We could be, but why? We got millions of fans and we don't have to play by their rules.
No doubt, very powerful. And I want to follow up with this question. You guys had 7 straight top 10, records. Do you guys feel like you get the respect you deserve, in hip hop, by the regular people, but even like the new artists? Do you feel like you're appreciated enough, Bone Thugs and Harmony?
I believe these days from our peers and our younger artists, now we get way more respect than we used to, but I don't think we get the respect that we deserve. Right. But if we leave it up to a Wiz Khalifa or just to throw his name out there because he got tattoos of niggas on his legs. So, but it's a lot more. The ASAP Mob family. They always give up props. So our peers, they recognize the younger generation. My generation wouldn't give us props at all. You feel me? Like they just tried to gloss over us. You never heard us in the top 10 artists. You never seen us on the collages with all the great rappers when artists paint them. They wouldn't recognize, but the younger artists gave us more recognition than our own peers. And I want to say this too. Bone Thugs and Harmony single-handedly contributed more to hip hop than anybody from our genre or after. Because if you listen to these new flows, listen to all these little niggas right now, they all flip-flop the flow. They all got cadence to their rap. You know what I'm saying? And not to take nothing away from them, because they supposed to take from us and grow and become into their own. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, we never got props for bringing a sound to the table that changed hip hop. And we did, all from Mariah Carey to whoever, you name them, from R&B. Shit, we ain't just changed the sound in hip hop, it was R&B too. You know what I'm saying? Like all the R&B, they started when the singers found out they can flow and do that shit like that. They was all doing that. They all sound like Crazy Bone to me, most of them. You know what I'm saying? So, no, we didn't get our props. Yes, we do deserve them. And we want our flowers before we had to leave Earth too, man. But our contribution, in my opinion, is that we added a flavor. To me, the rap game was still on Atari before Bone Thugs and Harmony came. When Bone Thugs and Harmony came, it became Xbox/PlayStation. You know what I'm saying? We put some shit into the game that made people go to the drawing board and want to be like, oh, my raps are boring, because they shit was boring until we came. But not to knock nobody, man, but no, we never got we don't get our props the way we should. They don't mention Bone Thugs and Harmony in the top 5 or top 10 or top anything. So until we do, we gonna keep going at, or I'm gonna keep going at niggas next.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of that, do you think one group right now that is obvious that they mimic your style was the Migos? Do you think that they should be, give you guys, your flowers, one of the groups for, emulating what you guys put down?
Of course they should give us our flowers. If they came first, I would have gave them their flowers. You know what I'm saying? I had my episode with them, man, that I'm like, as an OG, I wish I wouldn't have said nothing, but I come from a school when niggas start talking crazy and counting my pocket shit, like that had made me mad. And I had got into that beef over something that Biggie Bone was going through, and I ended up fighting that battle by myself. But they never really replied, and I'm glad they didn't, because I actually like those dudes. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, they should give us our flowers. Even their own CEOs was like, yeah, when we signed them, they sounded like Bone Thugs and Harmony. And then, you know, when it come to somebody saying that they the greatest group of all time, then, you know, that's just the competitive nature of hip hop.
Mhm.
I had to say something at that time, but I don't have no problem with these youngsters, man. Like, I look at my music now. We took so much from Ice Cube and and Chuck D and
Right.
all these different rappers. Like, you know, all the concepts was birthed a generation before us. You know what I mean? We just changed the sound of it, and the new generation changed the concepts and kept the sound. So yeah, they should give us props, man. You know what I mean? That's just only a real one would do. That's just like me saying, "Oh, fuck NWA. Them niggas ain't man. Why? How could I disrespect my forefathers? I don't know where that come from."
You know what? I'm glad you did say something. And as a culture, I'm sure the people that grew up watching and enjoying y'all music, glad you said something simply for the fact of they may not understand that shit now because we all been young in this day and age. And these young boys are totally different than what we were now. But I feel like eventually that G check that you had to give them will resonate and go, you know what? Yeah, he's right. We got to do this the right way. So I'm glad it's on wax. And I also feel like it gave Bone Thugs another introduction to maybe young ears that ain't heard you and got people listening to the music. So all in all, even through the negativity, I think it all in all will come out as a positive for y'all and Bone Thugs. So salute to that. I want to talk about you and you and the bro Busy. How are y'all doing? And is there any way you guys can reconcile?
I mean, it ain't really nothing to reconcile. I love Busy like my little brother, like a
Love
little son, like
it.
a son, like a baby brother. Like, it ain't nothing for me to reconcile. You know what I mean? It's just like, even him, our only differences is I think we seen the money thing a little different. You know, I always was the front man for Bone Thugs and Harmony when it came to getting us deals and handling business and things like that. My only thing was I had to stay in the frying pan the whole time. I ain't had time to bail out. Like, oh, shit ain't going right, so fuck that, I ain't coming to the show, or I couldn't punish Bone like that.
Yeah.
He didn't understand was he made it a thousand times harder for me to make plays for Bone Thugs and Harmony because one of the most outstanding members of the group wasn't cooperating, was having a problem. So I don't have a problem with him. I understand what his gripe was, but the only thing for me is I had to deal with the issues. I couldn't turn my back on the issues. I couldn't disappear for a year or 2 years. You know what I mean? And if you notice, Bone Thugs and Harmony, yeah, we broke up a few times, but we family. We family, man. Like
Yep.
the door never shut on Busy Bone. It's
Or
always been a revolving door. This door been doing this the whole time. He can come in right now. Maybe the business still ain't the way he wanted, but I'm so close to owning our masters and so close to really like checkmating the whole game. Now I can claim, nigga, I did that. He can't say that. He sat back and did and said what he had to say. You know what I mean? But the battle was on, period. So I don't have nothing to reconcile with Busy Bone. I love Busy Bone. If any nigga out there in the streets try to touch him, I come for their head. And anybody that know me know I don't play no games when it come to my motherfucking family or my money. So
Appreciate that.
it being business, I'm just trying to make sure that, you know, that the business is good. So when I do kick my feet up at 50, my kids and the ones coming after us won't have that problem. But I fought that good fight. Crazy Bone fought that fight. You know what I mean? Flesh and Bone fought that fight, and Wishbone fought that fight. You know what I mean?
yes,
And
sir.
if he want to come around, if he want to deal with what, like, don't play us like the money ain't good enough, nigga. We gotta always get to it because our money start trying to give us fucked up deals when a nigga walked off tour. So with that being said, I've been wanting to clean that up. He caused a lot of shit himself. and we all did. So once niggas pointing the finger and own it like that, then we cool. Come on home, nigga. This home, wherever he at. That's
Yeah.
but this home right here.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have been through a lot, man. But like you said, broke up, got back together, and everything. So we definitely is going to iron itself out. But real quick, my last question, we're not going to keep too much longer, would be: you talked about, you guys got so much longevity in your group and everything, but talk about, how hard it is to keep groups together in general. Because you pretty much, I don't know if it was you, but one member said you guys got to kind of have certain things in common outside of just music to keep the group together. So talk about your longevity, man, and you guys just, still staying strong to today.
Man, our longevity of sticking together, man. We had it so rough, man, coming up, man, like far as being kids in the streets of Cleveland, Ohio, man, like we actually was each other's brothers and fathers and each other's mentors at a young age, like each other's advisors and things like that. So those experiences is like whatever we go through with Busy Bone or I go through with Busy Bone, nothing trumps the fact that, he had my back, hell, sleet, or snow. You know what I'm saying? Nothing trumps the fact that we all slept in the shack together, homeless in Los Angeles. You know what I'm saying? Nothing could ever trump that, man. It's just like Bone Thugs and Harmony, man. We've been through so much that to the point where our parents, even when we was going through it, Mama P and Sweet No and Mama Busy and all them, they got on the phone like they was like, "What the fuck are y'all doing?" You know what I mean? Like shit, when the mamas get involved,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's like, what can you do, man? All you could do is just grow and learn. So we went through all those little cycles and things like that. And I believe Bone Thugs and Harmony is far from finished. As you can see, that youth God gave us that gift of youth. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I believe it's still a message. We had Changed the World. We had Crossroads, Teach the World. All those different songs that we had that touch people's heart, that they'd come to me and be like, "Man, y'all saved my life or changed my life," or "I went to college because I made it through college because of these songs." I believe we got a few more messages as a group that we've yet to get to. And until God's plan is done, the world ain't through hearing from us. Bottom line, man, we brothers, period.
Appreciate that, bro.
We definitely appreciate it. We definitely appreciate your time. It was an honor to have you on. My final question for you, brother, on this afternoon or this evening now. Let's bring everything full circle. Because like we started off with, you got a son in hip hop now, and he's doing the damn thing. J House is really doing the damn thing, man. Talk about looking at your son now becoming a little bit of a problem in the hip hop game and how proud that must be as a father.
Oh man, I'm telling you, boy, I be melting, just my heart melt. And not only my son Jay House was on the record with me when he was 5 years old, called The Backyard. And he in his mid-20s now. And my son Stephen House just released some music. My daughter Trinity, my son Stevan. All my kids are so musically inclined that I just want to be there to guide their career. And when I hear them do their thing and then they do their own thing, they don't do the bone shit. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes they do the bone shit, but they got their own flavor, man. It's just it's a miracle that God gave us music and now it's becoming generational wealth from us just following our dreams. Like if we hadn't got on that bus, ain't no telling what our lives would be or where our children would be right now. We was able to take care of our families. So man, I'm looking at music. I love where it's at with the internet. I love the fact that, I can put my music out whenever I want to, however I want to. I can book a tour whenever I want to. I can take my kids out on the road with me when I want to. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just loving this game. I'm loving life, man. I'm glad we went to the school of hard knocks in this shit because I feel like I got it mastered now. And I feel like I'm just getting started all over again, man.
Indeed. We definitely appreciate your time. Definitely
Yes.
appreciate all your honesty, transparency, and candidacy on the Hip Hop and Sense podcast this evening, brother. Thank you so much. Drop your social media handles, anything you want to give to the people before we get up out of here, brother. The floor is yours.
Okay, Facebook, man, official Layzie Bone is my Facebook, Layzie Bone Facebook. You can always go to the Bone Thugs and Harmony Facebook site to find out anything. IG, I'm the real Layzie Bone. I got the blue check on there, the real Layzie Bone. A lot of niggas try to be me, but yeah, and also my website, harmonyhouseent.com, and also merchandise website, LayzieGear.com, LayzieGear.com, and just follow me on Instagram, man. I'm linked in to everything. I'm always posting pictures, and I'm always letting the world know what we're doing via Instagram and Twitter and all that. So that's what I'm doing, man. Follow me. Roll with the bone. Mo Thug on fire. It's still the same.
Yes, sir.
Definitely appreciate you. Layzie Bone, the OG on the Hip Hop and Sense podcast, Bone Thugs and Harmony. Salute.
Salute, brother.
Thank you.
All right.